All right, so we're diving deep into 0 to 1 today by Peter Thiel. And,
Yeah.
you shared this one with us, so you're clearly interested in, kind of like building the future
Yeah.
startup style. And this book is kind of the playbook.
It really is, yeah. It really challenges a lot of the conventional wisdom about businesses and
Yeah.
especially, this idea that competition is
Boy.
always good.
So we're all about building the future, right?
Yeah.
But how do we create something truly valuable
Right.
when it seems like everything's already been done?
That's where Thiel's concept of 0 to 1 thinking comes in.
Okay.
Really about understanding the difference between creating something truly new and just kind of copying what's already out there.
So 0 to 1 is like, what was that analogy again?
Imagine the jump from typewriters to the first word processor.
Yeah.
That's 0 to 1.
Okay.
It's vertical progress, a complete paradigm shift. In contrast, 1 to N is taking that word processor and just making different versions of it.
Got it.
Like adding spell check or different fonts.
Yeah.
It's horizontal progress, which is important but not revolutionary.
Okay, so 0 to 1 is inventing the game.
Exactly.
And 1 to N is playing it.
Yeah.
But maybe with like slightly better equipment or something.
Exactly. A good example from the book is, of course, PayPal.
Okay.
In the early days of the internet, no one had figured out a secure way to send money online.
Right.
PayPal came in and created a whole new system that's 0 to 1 in action.
And that's something, I mean, Thiel knows a thing or two about being a
For sure.
PayPal co-founder himself.
Yeah.
But then he throws this curveball with this whole idea of monopolies.
Right.
He's actually pro-monopoly.
Yeah.
It feels a little counterintuitive.
Well, we're taught that competition is good, that it drives innovation, keeps prices low.
Right.
But Thiel argues that fierce competition can actually lead to a race to the bottom, where companies are so focused on undercutting each other that they don't have the resources or the incentive to innovate.
So it's like everyone's so busy trying to stay afloat that they can't build the next big thing.
Exactly, and that's where monopolies come in.
Okay.
Thiel argues that companies that achieve true dominance in their markets, like Google, for example,
Right.
are the ones that can actually drive real innovation because they're not constantly fighting for survival.
So you're telling me that Google, a company synonymous with innovation, is actually a good example of a monopoly.
Think about it. Google's early dominance in search gave them the resources and the freedom to branch out into things like self-driving cars and artificial intelligence.
Interesting.
They could afford to take those risks because their core business was so secure.
So it's not about being anti-competitive. It's about creating a space where you're not just surviving.
Right.
You're thriving and pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Yeah. Exactly. Now, how do these companies actually achieve that kind of market dominance?
Right.
Thiel outlines 4 key characteristics of successful monopolies.
Okay, and the first one is proprietary technology.
Right. It's not just about having a slightly better product. It's about having something that's 10 times better than anything else out there.
Okay.
Take Amazon. They didn't just create another bookstore.
Right.
They created a system that was vastly superior to the traditional brick-and-mortar experience. Think personalized recommendations, a seemingly endless selection, and convenient home delivery.
Yeah.
That's a 10 times improvement.
So it's not about offering the same thing, but online.
Right.
It's about completely reimagining the customer experience.
Exactly. That kind of technological edge gives you a huge advantage over the competition.
Okay, what's the next characteristic?
Network effects this means the value of the product or service increases as more people use it.
Oh, so it's like that snowball effect.
Think about Facebook. As more people joined, it became the go-to place to connect with friends and family, making it even more valuable, attracting even more users.
Right.
That's the power of network effects.
So it becomes this like self-perpetuating cycle of growth and dominance?
Yes.
Hard to compete with that.
It is.
What's the third characteristic?
Economies of scale. This is about how a business can grow without its costs increasing at the same rate.
Okay, you gave the example of software development before, right?
Right.
Because once the software is built, you can basically create endless copies for nothing.
Right. But think about how Amazon leveraged this principle.
Okay.
They invested heavily in building a massive infrastructure,
Uh,
warehouses, logistics systems, delivery networks
right.
that allowed them to serve a global customer base efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
As they grew, the cost per delivery actually decreased,
Wow.
giving them a significant advantage over smaller competitors.
So those early investments in infrastructure, even though they're huge, they ultimately pay off
They do.
as they gain market share.
Yeah.
Okay, on to the final characteristic, branding.
Branding is about creating a unique identity and a perception of value that sets you apart.
Right.
Apple is the classic example.
Of course.
Their products are seen as not just functional, but beautiful, innovative, and user-friendly.
Yeah.
People are willing to pay a premium for that Apple experience.
Like they've created a whole ecosystem, not just products, but a lifestyle.
Exactly, and that kind of brand loyalty is incredibly powerful.
Mm-hmm.
It creates a barrier to entry for competitors because you're not just selling a product, you're selling an idea, an aspiration.
All right, so we've got the theory of 0 to 1 down.
We do.
But how do we actually put these principles into practice? How do we go from dreaming about building the future to actually doing it?
That's where things get really interesting. Thiel offers a lot of practical advice based on his own experience in the startup world. He talks about the importance of finding the right partner, building a team that's motivated by more than just a paycheck, and creating a company culture that fosters innovation and collaboration.
Okay, I'm all ears. Let's dive into the practical side of 0 to 1 thinking.
Let's do it. Welcome back. So we've laid out the 0 to 1 framework, and now it's time to explore those 4 characteristics of monopolies in more depth.
Okay.
Remember, these are the tools that allow companies to truly dominate their markets.
Right.
Let's start with proprietary technology.
Okay.
You mentioned Amazon earlier, how they created a 10x better experience than traditional bookstores.
Right.
What other companies come to mind?
Well, Google's got to be up there. Right? Their search algorithm was so much better
Absolutely.
than anything else at the time. I
Yeah.
mean, they basically revolutionized
Yeah.
how we access information.
Google's early search algorithm was a game changer.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a minor improvement.
Right.
It was a fundamental leap forward.
Right.
And that dominance in search gave them the resources and the freedom to invest. Yeah.
In other groundbreaking technologies like self-driving cars
Right.
and artificial intelligence.
It's amazing how a single innovation can have such a ripple effect.
It really is.
But what about companies that aren't necessarily tech-focused?
Mm-hmm.
Can they still achieve that kind of technological edge?
Definitely think about SpaceX.
Okay.
They've revolutionized space travel
Right.
by developing reusable rockets,
Oh, wow.
dramatically reducing the cost of launching payloads into orbit.
Okay.
It's a remarkable feat of engineering.
Yeah.
That's opened up a whole new frontier for commercial space exploration.
So it's not just about software or algorithms.
Yeah.
It's about pushing the boundaries of what's possible in any industry.
Exactly.
Okay. Let's move on to network effects.
Okay.
You used Facebook as an example earlier.
Right.
But this concept can be applied to so many other businesses, right?
Absolutely. Think about Airbnb
Okay.
as more people list their properties.
Yeah.
It becomes a more attractive platform for travelers,
Yeah.
leading to more bookings.
And even more listings.
Right.
It's a classic network effect in action.
And it creates this incredible momentum.
It does.
That's hard for competitors to match.
Yeah.
I mean, who wants to join a platform with limited options?
Right.
The more users, the more valuable it becomes.
Exactly.
And the cycle continues.
It does.
Okay, let's talk about economies of scale.
Right.
We talked about software earlier.
Yeah.
But what about other industries where this principle comes into play?
The auto industry is a great example.
Okay.
Think about Tesla.
Okay.
They invested heavily in building their own gigafactories,
Right.
massive facilities dedicated to producing batteries and electric vehicles.
Wow.
As they scale up production, the cost per vehicle decreases significantly,
Okay.
giving them a competitive advantage over traditional automakers who rely on older, less efficient manufacturing processes.
So those upfront investments, even though they're huge,
Huge.
ultimately pay off in the long run
They do.
as they gain market share.
They do.
Okay, last but not least, let's talk about branding.
Okay.
You mentioned Apple,
Right.
but how do they actually cultivate that almost cult-like following?
Well, I think Apple has mastered the art of storytelling.
Okay.
They've created a narrative around their brand
Mm-hmm.
that resonates deeply with their target audience.
Interesting.
It's about simplicity, elegance, innovation, and creativity.
Right.
It's about challenging the status quo,
Yeah.
and people are willing to pay a premium for products that embody those values.
So it's not just about slapping a logo on something.
Right.
It's about crafting a holistic experience that speaks to your audience on an emotional level.
Precisely. And that's something that's incredibly difficult for competitors to replicate.
Yeah.
You can copy a product, but you can't copy a brand that's
Right.
deeply ingrained in the hearts and minds of its customers.
Okay.
Now let's shift gears a bit
Okay.
and delve into the more practical aspects of building a successful startup.
All right.
Thiel offers some incredibly valuable insights in 0 to 1 that go beyond these 4 characteristics of monopolies.
Okay.
He talks about the importance of choosing the right partner, building a team that shares your vision,
Right.
and creating a company culture that fosters innovation and collaboration.
That's where the rubber meets the road.
Right.
It's one thing to understand the theory,
Right.
but how do we actually put these principles into action?
We'll explore those practical tips and strategies from building a winning team to creating a killer company culture in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay.
Stay tuned.
All right. So we've explored these monopolies and those 4 characteristics that can help a company dominate.
Right.
But let's get down to like brass tacks here.
Yeah.
You shared this book with us, which probably means you're thinking about these ideas for like
Yeah.
your own ventures. Right?
Absolutely.
So where do we even begin?
Well, Thiel really emphasizes starting with a solid foundation.
Okay.
He tells this story actually about a startup that failed. And it wasn't because of the product, it was because the founders were totally misaligned on their values and long-term goals.
Oh, wow.
And it just highlights how crucial it is to choose the right partner.
So that's saying if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Exact.
But you need to be going in the same direction.
You do. Finding a partner with complementary skills is important, but it's not enough.
Right.
You need someone who shares your vision, who you can trust implicitly, and who you can weather the inevitable storms with.
So think of it like building a house.
Yeah.
If the foundation is shaky, the whole structure is compromised.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got the right partner.
Okay.
The foundation is solid. How do we build the rest of the house?
Right.
How do we attract and keep top talent, especially in those early stages when resources might be tight?
Well, Thiel suggests thinking beyond just cash compensation.
Okay.
He's a big advocate for offering employees equity in the company. It's about creating a sense of ownership. You know, making them feel like they're not just working for a paycheck, but building something they truly believe in.
So it's about that long game, that shared investment in the future.
Exactly. And it can be a powerful motivator.
Right.
When employees have skin in the game, they're more likely to go that extra mile to think creatively, to contribute at a higher level.
That's true.
They're not just employees, they're partners.
That's a huge shift in mindset.
Yeah.
But even with the right partner and a stellar team, there's something else that's essential for success.
All right.
Company culture.
Absolutely.
What insights does Thiel offer on that?
Well, he draws a lot from his experience at PayPal,
Okay.
where he really prioritized building a tight-knit team.
Yeah.
It wasn't just about working together. It was about genuine camaraderie, a shared sense of purpose.
Right.
You know, creating an environment where people felt valued, supported, and inspired to do their best work.
So it's not just about ping pong tables and free snacks.
It's not. It's about something much deeper.
Yeah, it's about fostering a culture of trust, transparency, and open communication.
It is.
It's about creating a space where people feel comfortable taking risks,
Yeah.
sharing ideas,
Yeah.
learning from their mistakes.
Yeah. That's where true innovation flourishes.
That resonates with me so much. It's
Yeah.
about building a company where people don't just want to work. They want to belong.
You got it. And that sense of belonging, of shared purpose is incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
It can be the difference between a company that simply exists and one that truly thrives.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into 0 to 1,
Yeah.
what's the one thing you want our listener to remember? What's the key takeaway?
You know, I think 0 to 1 is not just a business book, it's a philosophy.
Yeah.
It's about challenging the status quo, about thinking differently, about creating something truly new and valuable in the world. And it's a reminder that building a successful company is about more than just a great product.
Right.
It's about the partnerships and the culture you create.
And it's about asking yourself, am I on autopilot, just following the well-trodden path?
Yeah.
Or am I forging my own unique journey, creating something that's never existed before?
That's the question that Peter Thiel's 0 to 1 compels us to consider.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it such a powerful and enduring read.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us. We'll be back soon with another thought-provoking exploration, ready to unpack more fascinating ideas and help you navigate the world with a little more clarity and a lot more curiosity.